Hey there, gang. Welcome back to Papa's Model Workshop. I'm Papa. This is my workshop. So I finally finished the 72 Corvette. Now I'm going to show it to you inside at the workbench just because the lighting in there is much better than right here. So anyway, just to summarize, it was a really very good kit. It was an AMT kit, all right, 72 Corvette in 1/25th scale, I think, right? What is this? 1/25th scale. There it is. Okay, box art shows it in the green. All right, and I did it in a candy blue. And if you've been following, and actually, I'll tell you, I got quite a few messages from some folks who said that they were following this right from the beginning. I didn't realize so many people followed right along the progression from start to finish. I got a message just yesterday from a gentleman in Australia, and I'm sorry, I don't recall your name. But yeah, he sent me a message and he said that he's been following the Corvette right from the start. So I didn't realize so many people followed right along on these builds, so I'll try to be mindful of that and be a little bit more timely with the updates on a build that I'm currently working on. And of course, I've been working on that Peterbilt wrecker forever. Actually, I wrapped up the Corvette yesterday, and I did get some work in on the Peterbilt wrecker. So as I've mentioned before, that's going to be my little side project. I don't think I'm going to dedicate myself like I would for a kit that I'm working on. Only because that I don't know. I lost a little bit of my enthusiasm for that kit because there were just so many parts that were missing and parts that were shaped wrong, and I just got a little frustrated with it. So I'm making that a side kit. But anyway, I did get some work done on it yesterday. So let's see. I have Jeff. I know I'm going to screw this up. I think it's Jeff Wolverines R1. I think that's how it goes. So Jeff, I hope I'm getting that right. Anyway, Jeff writes, he just came back to the hobby after he got a kit last Christmas. So he's coming back after 50 years. So that's great. He's really enthusiastic and excited about coming back to the hobby. That's really the same story that, I have. I've mentioned before, I built as a teenager back in the 70s, and I only came back around 2018. So, it's great to see people coming back. So, Jeff, keep that enthusiasm, and any questions you have, feel free to ask me, and just about anybody on YouTube. The one thing about this YouTube community relative to this hobby is everybody is, really very supportive and happy to help. So, feel free to ask me or any of the other people on YouTube. They're right there and ready to help you out. Let's see. This one is It's Me Gonzo. That's his screen name or handle. Can you call it a handle? I guess you can call it a handle, right? Okay. Well, It's Me Gonzo. That's his handle. He has the same gun. He's referring to the airbrush. He has the same gun as me, and he's using the Kaleido paints exclusively. All right, good stuff. I'm not sure which gun he has, though, because I've demonstrated a couple of different airbrushes here on the channel. So, but anyway, it sounds like whichever gun that you're using, it sounds like it's working well for you, so stay with it. And yeah, the Kaleido paints are great. They really are. Okay, and Tim Shikes, what do I use to strip paint? Well, it really depends on what paint you're talking about. I know that most people will defer to brake fluid if you're dealing with lacquer or enamel, I think. Now, I can tell you from my own experience, when it comes to acrylic paint, specifically the Kaleido, Isopropyl alcohol works great. I have stripped, well, if you've been watching, you know that I stripped the Corvette twice, not once, but twice. And I put it in isopropyl alcohol for about 45 minutes or so. Being mindful that I didn't want the isopropyl alcohol to make the plastic brittle, so I tried to leave it in there for a minimal amount of time. So, it really depends on what paint you're trying to strip. Again, the brake fluid, I have heard from others with lacquer and enamel works very well. I have never done that with lacquer and enamel, but I have stripped acrylic. And as I said, the isopropyl alcohol and the acrylic works very well. That's about as much as I've got right now. Don't forget Kaleido and Gallery and their equipment and products, all 10% off if you use my discount code right there. And of course, if you've been watching, that they are running their Black Friday sale, I think until December 18th. I think they've got another promotion going on or coming up soon. I'm not sure. But anyway, whatever promotions they have, you can stack this 10% onto that, and you get an even bigger discount. All right. So pretty good stuff. I've had a lot of people who have spoken to me, and I've been promising to get to this paint segment relative to the airbrushes. But a lot of people have asked me about, getting into airbrushing for the very first time as a beginner and so on and so forth. As a standard, I will usually recommend that you not go out and get a real expensive airbrush if you're starting out for the very first time. Now, some people might disagree with me. My reasoning on this is this. If you're going into it brand new for the very first time, I think, in my opinion, you want to make sure that you really like it and are into it before spending a lot of money. The troops are coming down. I can hear them coming. Hey, Adam, how you doing? Oh, you got Adam has his Papa's Model Workshop. Come on over here. Show everybody your Papa's Model Workshop t-shirt. Okay. If you want a t-shirt, actually, no, this is something separate. But if you want a hoodie or a t-shirt or anything like that, check out the Spreadshirt store under Papa's Model Workshop, and the link is in the description. Getting back to the airbrushes, you don't want to spend a lot of money on a high-end airbrush until you know that you really are going to get into this. When I first got into airbrushing, my airbrush sat for almost a year before I started getting into it. And then after that, it took me close to a year to get really comfortable with it. Now, I got pretty good with it after a short period of time, but I'm talking about where I was really comfortable and I didn't have to overthink things and all that sort of thing. It took me about a year. The point I'm trying to get to is, go with a less expensive airbrush to get started. Now, some folks, like I said, will probably disagree with me. They'll say, Papa, don't steer them to a cheap airbrush because it'll sour them on airbrushing in general if the airbrush is not of a particular quality and, they find it difficult to use. There's wisdom in that, but what I'm going to point out is this, Gallery actually does have two very reliable airbrushes that don't cost a lot. One is the GHAD 39. Right now, and what is today? Today is December 5th. Right now, that airbrush, I think, is listing at $29.99. So really an inexpensive airbrush. In fact, at $29.99, that's less than I paid for this kit. And it performs very well. Now, I'm not tooting Gallery's horn because they're a sponsor. Number one, I used that airbrush quite a bit before Gallery was my sponsor. Here's the second thing. Dread FX. Okay, I'm going to write that down for you because it may not translate here on the video. And if you don't get the spelling right, you'll never find these channels. But this is the proper spelling, Dread FX on YouTube. All right. Now, this gentleman is a professional airbrush artist, and he really loves the GHAD 39 airbrush. Okay, this is coming from a professional airbrush artist. Also, the Mobius 0.2 by Gallery. I think that is currently about $59. Excellent airbrush. And that also is something that Dread FX has mentioned as a very reliable airbrush. And he has compared those two airbrushes that I just mentioned against some of the higher end airbrushes. And he says they're comparable. So I'm not just simply tooting Gallery's horn. And I mention it again because I think if you're a beginner, the smartest thing to do is start with an inexpensive airbrush. Make sure you like it. And then if you do, you can always upgrade to something a little bit higher down the road. Okay, so I'll tell you what, let's head back and take a look at the Corvette. I'll meet you at the bench, okay? Okay, guys, we're back here at the assembly bench, and here is the Corvette. And just to remind you, this was a silver base with Tamiya X23 clear blue as my candy color. Yeah, it came out okay. You know, not perfect, but here we go. Not perfect, but, you know, not bad. Okay. And, you know, I got some patina under here. As I said, I like to do that. I like to rust up the bottom with, you know, make it look grungy and used and so forth. And I don't know, can you see inside that engine area here? Let me see if I can grab a flashlight here. Hang on, guys. Hang on. And let me see if I can get, I don't know, it's kind of bleaching things out. But trust me, there's some rust and so forth down in there. So, yeah. AMT 72 Corvette. All right. Again, like I said, not perfect, but, you know, I don't think I've ever built a perfect kit before. And I probably never will build a perfect build, but I keep trying. But in the overall scheme of things, not too shabby. And of course, here's the Peterbilt sitting back here. I've got the tape on here. It's all mocked up. And let's see if we can give that Peterbilt a little bit of love. Will that fit on here? I don't know. Will it fit? Yeah, it kind of fits. So yeah, you know, I'm kind of working on that intermittently, and you know, I have some of the chrome parts here that I was working on yesterday. Okay, here's the stacks, and all the chrome parts I shot with a gloss, a dull coat gloss. You know, so I don't want this thing to be all shiny and glossy. And of course, you know, I have my and I just lost the hood. Like I said, it was just simply mocked up. But, you know, I kind of, you know, grunged this up with rust and patina and everything. And if you've been watching, you know that this piece right here was completely missing. Okay, so I had to scratch built that. You know, so, you know, this is, you know, coming along. Every once in a while, I pop back over here and work on that. So, okay, so I'll tell you what. Let's see if we can pick another kit. So hang on. Okay, so we're over here at the paint bench. I have a little bit more room over here to display things. And, oh, thank you, Adam. Adam just brought down a package. Let's see if this is something for the workshop or not. If it is, then it just came just now. So if this is something for the workshop and it's something cool, I will share it with you. So let me quickly open this up and let's see what we've got here. I have no idea what this is. All right. Adam, you want to see what this is with me? All right. I guess this is something Karen ordered. This does not look like it's something for the workshop. Okay, I have no idea. I don't even know what that is. You know what that is, Adam?
No.
I don't know what that is. Oh, these look like Christmas candles that you put in the...
Oh.
Yeah, that's what that is. Okay, so nothing for the workshop. Sorry to bore you with that. Okay. All right, so anyway, let's get back to workshop business. These are the three kits that I'm kind of considering. You know, I've got I guess my stash is up around 125 at this particular point, which, you know, in relative terms, that's not a real big stash. I know some of you out there have stashes that are hundreds, approaching 1,000, and some of you even have well over 1,000 kits. So comparatively speaking, my stash isn't that big, but it gives me, you know, enough to choose from. Now, if you watch the channel regularly, you know that I love these old classics the best. Those are my favorites. And I've got this Italeri, I think that's how you pronounce that, this Italeri Fire Truck. This is an old 1940s fire truck. Isn't that cool? And of course, the Ford GT. This is a Tamiya kit. And I think I showed this as one of the choices before I got started with the Corvette. So these are the three that I'm kind of thinking of for my next build, and I haven't made up my mind. I'm leaning towards this Duesenberg. I don't think this is a Duesenberg. Now you can see it. All right, it was sitting up high, and you couldn't see what that was, but it's a Monogram Duesenberg from their museum pieces collection, and yeah, I'm really kind of leaning towards that. Okay, so, and if I decide to go with this Duesenberg, by the way, it is not going to be that color, right? That's one of the other things that I really like to do if you follow me. I love to sit on the computer and research the build that I choose. And you know, I don't know what color I'll go with that. This would be kind of a neat color, wouldn't it? This green color, right? That's actually a Model Masters acrylic. And by the way, speaking of Model Masters, I was just at Bayshore Hobbies about a week ago, and I found a bunch. Well, I shouldn't say a bunch, but I was able to purchase 3 or 4 bottles of this Model Masters magenta. So, yeah, it's still out there in the pipeline. You can still find it. But yeah, that Duesenberg might look kind of neat in a green color. I don't know. This, I'm thinking maybe would be a candy red would be good. That would be pretty cool. Fire truck, well, I think that has to be red. But anyway, those are my 3 choices I think I'm going to go with. So I will probably let you know in the next video. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to wrap this up, because if I start getting into that segment about paints and so forth, this is going to run for another half an hour or so. And we're coming up on, well, we're just a little over 18 minutes. So I'm going to try to keep this short. By the way, there's a gentleman by the name of Bill Jones who requested a shop card. And I just found a shop card sitting on my desk, and it says Bill Jones written there and nothing else. So I'm wondering if I messed up and I did not send that shop card out. So Bill, if you did not receive the shop card, I apologize. Send me a message letting me know that you never got it, and I will send it right out to you. All right. And anyone else who wants a shop card, there you go. There's the email address right there. Okay. And content creators, if you want to swap, there's the mailing address right there. Okay. And yeah, I have a feeling I might have messed up with that with Bill Jones. I apologize, Bill. I found it sitting on my desk in the other room, so I apologize about that. All right, folks. Well, listen, I hope you're having a good day and a better one tomorrow. And if you're at your workbench this weekend, then you are having a great weekend. And I will be having a good weekend, because I'm going to pick one of these, I think, and get going. All right. So as usual, thanks so much for Adam. What are you doing? Dancing over there? Okay, Adam's dancing over here. Adam is chomping at the bit. He wants me to wrap this up so he can sit here and paint. He wants to paint today. So anyway, thank you again for tuning in, and I will see you all in the next video.
Ow.
What?
Ow.
Okay. See you guys.